Hey everybody, it's Jim Johnson here, your host on Contractor Radio and the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro. And we've got another amazing episode for you today. We're going to be talking about professionalizing your sales presentation and really your business overall. It's one of those things that'll help separate your business from all the competition out there. We don't want to be the herd of cows. We want to be the bull. And so the best thing for us to do is to find ways to position ourselves in a unique way that creates value for our business so that we're not price selling, we're value selling, which allows us to be a little bit more profitable. I've got a special guest today who is amazing at this. As a matter of fact, he created a piece of software that helps with it. He has his own roofing company. I believe it's the largest roofing company in Calgary, Canada. And Calgary, we'll have to ask. I can't remember what province it's in. I think Alberta. And but up there in that great white north and all that other good fun stuff. But we're going to bring him on in just a second, right after we pay a few bills with our sponsor, Signpost.
Want more 5-star reviews from your customers? At Signpost, we make it easy for your customers to give you great reviews on Google, Facebook, Yelp, and more. Our software connects with industry-specific solutions, driving even more reviews from your customers. Drive loyalty and repeat business by sending the right messages at the right times to your prospects and customers. Message your contacts from anywhere, anytime, using text, photos, and video all in one app. Check on progress with campaigns and review generation across Google, Facebook, and Yelp. Visit signpost.com and get your demo today.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Signpost, if you haven't checked them out yet, please do. Those guys do a great job of creating brand for you. You become recognizable. You communicate better with your customers, which gives you more of that professional experience. This is what we're here to talk about today. Contractor Radio is all about giving you education, hopefully giving you a little bit of entertainment and the strategy and tactics you need to separate your business from everybody else out there. And we have an amazing rock star with us today. He is a guru of his roofing business. He is the master of presentations and proposals. Welcome aboard today, Ryan Shantz from SumoQuote.
Jim, thanks for having me, man. Great to be here. And that is a lot to live up to. I will do my best on this one, man.
Well, ever since I've gotten to know you, I've been very impressed by your attention to detail, how you separate your business from the other businesses in your market, and how you're starting to help contractors do the same thing. You're also one of the sponsors of our show, so thank you very much. We really appreciate that. And we look forward to a long-term relationship because we're very aligned in how we approach the contractor. And it's about them, not necessarily about us. If we do things the right way, we won't have to worry too much about our business. So I really appreciate that about you. So
yeah, no, it makes sense. It seems like there's been a lot of alignment for a long time. So yeah, good to be here.
So give us a little background, like catch us up to speed. Like what brought it all the way to this SumoQuote, and I think that's what your responsibility is nowadays, is SumoQuote and running SumoQuote, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I'm one of the partners on a roofing company, and I ran sales there for years, and I was back on the tools back in the day and everything else. One of the pieces, and I'm not even sure you know this about my history. After I was on the tools for a while, I knew I didn't want to be on the tools long term. Like, hats off to those guys; they do great work. But I went and I did some extra education stuff. I ended up buying a denim line, a blue jeans company, and I'm probably one of your first guests that's owned a denim line, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, that's a Canada thing, right? It's called the Canadian tuxedo. Like, you know the whole thing, right?
That's right. Yeah, you know it. So
please tell me that you supplied Aaron Rodgers with his whole outfit that he wore. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Sadly, no, I missed that. But I remember there was a musician named Matisiyahu. I remember him wearing our stuff on the Jay Leno show, and we were in InStyle magazine, and Elle and Vogue was pulling samples from us. And most roofers don't think and talk about that stuff, but really that's the place where I fell in love with this concept of branding and how to have your brand stand out in a crowded space. And so when I sold that company, and then I went back to my roots and joined this roofing company and bought in as a partner and everything, that's where it was sort of this, okay, I've lived this experience in fashion where, you take a $2 t-shirt and, suddenly you throw a logo on it and it's worth $50, right? And that's really the type of experience we were trying to create as a contractor. Was we were the largest in our space, as you had mentioned, but we had to compete with guys working out of their garage that didn't have our overhead and everything else, and we didn't want to compete on price. So we had to create this way to have our brand really, and the experience we're going to offer them really stand out at that sales level, at that first touch point, because we knew we could give them the production and the post-production, the warranty and all that stuff. So yeah, that's where this really polished professional sales presentations piece came in, and it worked incredibly well. It helped grow our business like crazy, and we just had people commenting on it all the time.
So you got a roofing business, like a lot of us, right? And you guys were pretty good size already, right? Like you were one of the bigger contractors, or were you smaller? Where were you at the time where you said, "Hey, we got to start this new strategy"?
Yeah, we were about 100 and 110, 120 employees at the time. So we're maybe 160, 170 now. And we had a good year last year. We do a ton of retail, but we also do a lot of insurance, and we had a big storm hit. So last year we were a little over 35 million in sales.
Wow, those are good numbers. Everybody likes that kind of number on their tag there. So you guys sit down and you say, "Hey, we're going to build this tool that's going to help our sales guys in the field present in a way that creates an experience for the homeowner." Strategically, if you approach it from that thought process, what made you guys go down that road? Was it just simply the separation from everybody else, or was there something else to it that you went, "Hey, this can give us an advantage"?
Yeah, it was the advantage. Initially, our thinking was, how do we create really fast inspection reports? So we wanted to grow in the multifamily space and and our service department. So and as we were going through that, we said, well, if we just throw a quote page on this and an authorization page, we can run all of our quotes through this. And really, it was the fact that we were building 5,000-6,000 reports a year in it, and our closing rates went up by 63%. It was like the impact that had. And then you just got these comments, right? So I remember giving a quote to a property manager, and they were about an hour and a half north of us, and it was for $237,000, full roof, partial siding, some metals, right? And I called her a week later, said, "Hey, just want to check in. Obviously, we'd love to do the work. How are we looking there?" She said, "Well, our local guy here, he's the best. We use him all the time. He came in at 207,000. But I really want you guys to win this. So feel free to tweak your numbers if you want to. But either way, I'm going to be pushing for you guys in front of the board." And I said, "Well, it's great, but I got to ask, why? Why? We've done one service call for you one time. You're raving about this other guy, and they're 15% less. Like, why do you want to work with us on this?" And she said, "Oh, man, I know it shouldn't matter, but holy smokes, that quote you gave me was just amazing. Like, I have a question, I turn the page, there's the answer. I just know I put the two quotes in front of the board, and they're going to be like, well, obviously this is the more professional company. This is the one we should be working with. It'll just make my life easier if I'm just pushing for you from the start."
Yeah, and that applies to so much, right? Like you walk into the wine store and you're going to go buy some wine. I don't know about you, but the label kind of attracts me as much as anything else, right? Like it's kind of a cool label, and it's the kind of wine I want. And then there's that boring one over there that just is brown and it's got some black writing on it. This one's all cool. It's got fire on it, and there's a skull and like all kinds of things. Like, I want that one, right?
You buy different kind of wine than I do.
We've had all kinds.
Totally.
They add some gold fleck to it, some gold foil. They do some things with their labeling that goes, "Hey, we have a premium product." And you'll notice that wine isn't on the bottom shelf. It's up there on the top shelf. or maybe the second shelf down, but it's not on the bottom normally. And that's really what you're doing with this proposal is you're putting yourself in this top shelf position, saying, "Hey, we are the best of the best." Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, the number of comments we get when people start using our tool where it's, hey, I just gave this 80,000. My first quote was an $80,000 quote. I wanted to put a bit extra into it because I wanted to win this one, right? And they gave it to the client, and the client's comment back to them was, well, you're higher than everyone else, but they were written on, one guy didn't even write anything, just emailed me a number. Two other guys just gave me a one page with a number and a couple of products. Yours actually explained the process, showed me some details of my home in photos that I wasn't aware of, explained the product that you were going to install and why it was better than other products, and then gave me options for the numbers and let me customize it quickly. Yeah, I mean, very often we hear the comment that, holy smokes, I gave it to, my first three, and I won two of the three or four of the first five. And yeah, it's great. You love hearing that because the impact it has on the decision maker, the homeowner, who ultimately controls the dollars and cents in this whole project.
So let's talk about a little bit about why it's different. So the standard for most contractors, home services guys, is, and I'm making some assumptions here, and I think it's improving over time, but the standard has been pretty much go out, do an inspection, take a 3-part carbon copy, maybe some spreadsheet if you're lucky, a one-page like contract, and when we write on there what we're going to do and how much we're going to do it for. I would say that's the standard. Would you agree with that?
Yep, you bet.
And so if we know that's the standard and we say, okay, that's who I'm competing against and I can do exactly what they're doing, and then we're a commodity, right? Like, hey, he can do what he can do, so my choice is totally price. If instead I go out there and I say, all right, here's a cool cover page with a picture of your house on it, the details of your house and everything on it, and you open it up and it starts to tell the rest of the story. What does that story look like? Like, how is it put together? What would you see kind of in order if you were using a SumoQuote proposal?
Yeah, so I mean, the style that I often present in is, the cover page, and you led into it because you've seen these before. So, but that cover page with the client's house on it. Now, it's intentional that their house is on there, right? You get into the sales psychology side of things. This is a place where they've spent, Thanksgivings and Christmases, and they brought their firstborn kid home to, or their new puppy. Like, this is a place with a lot of emotion. And so that you're starting to actually subtly target the subconscious, the emotion that they feel towards their home. There's a bit of that going towards your quote, as opposed to this sheet of paper that just has the roofing company's logo on it. They don't care about you, and a bunch of lines and a price. Like, there's no emotion there whatsoever, right? So there's that intentional cover page. You can have a nice introduction page explaining the details of the job. You can put in any marketing page you want. One of the ones we use with our company, we call it How to Compare Contractors. And down the left side, it's here's all of the things that you should be looking at to compare contractors to each other. And then on the top, here's Epic Roofing, and then here's your typical contractor out there. And of course, we heavyweight all of those things to the things that Epic has or is talented at or skilled at, right? So we mentioned that we've done over 30,000 projects. We mentioned that we've, how long we've been in business for, that we give a lifetime workmanship warranty. We mentioned that we've got a full-time safety director. And it subtly calls into question why this other company doesn't have a full-time safety director. Even though you don't need to be safe, we're large enough where we need to have a full-time safety director. So it's kind of that concept. If you got it, flaunt it, right? So
yeah, and you've done 30,000 projects. I wonder how many projects that guy's done, because it doesn't say so anywhere, right?
Exactly. And so you can put these marketing pages in, you can drag and drop in inspection photos, mark them up, but so educate them. This is their home, probably their most valuable possession. Educate them on things that they didn't know about it and how you're going to make sure it's done correctly, or how the last person didn't do it correctly, right? Sowing seeds that if you don't use me, this next contractor, if they're not mentioning this, they might do the same thing as this last guy where you had this big risk on there. obviously quote, you can do a good, better, best or a single quote, kind of your style, however you play that out. There's optional upgrades. That's actually one thing on the insurance side. People almost never try to sell optional upgrades, and it's the easiest money to take because it's just sitting there as a conversation piece. Hey, here's some things we could talk about just to make sure that we're putting on the, the level of roof that you want to have put on your most valuable asset here.
Yeah, we teach this concept like, hey, what you got from the insurance company is really a good down payment, or you can look at it as getting that builder grade roof back on your house that they put on whenever you first got it. Or you look at it as an opportunity like, hey, I got this huge down payment. I want to take it to another level and pitch actually that most expensive, crazy thing that you don't think you're going to sell. Metal, composite, stone coated steel, any of that kind of stuff. Have that as one of the options. Then something in the middle, and we call it better, best, fall back to the rest. And so you show better and best.
Yeah.
And those two don't work. Okay, well, that thing that with the insurance company works fine. We can do that.
Yeah.
But what we found is by pitching it that way, 40% of the people pick the best. That's 40% of the people that most contractors out there are missing that profit opportunity because they really don't have a way to present it other than I got some sample boards and here's the samples.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's where you need to have that sales coaching in there. I mean, it's still important. SumoQuote will increase your closing rates. It'll make things super fast and easy. But your salesperson, you still need to have trained to be able to walk the homeowner through all of those pieces. Now, with SumoQuote, the one thing that I kind of throw in there is ideally your salesperson is there every single time a homeowner signs a contract, digitally or not. We all know that doesn't happen, right? So what is there 100% of the time when they're signing that contract is your quote. And
right.
So if they're looking at these 3 quotes, later on that evening with their partner, and they're trying to figure it out, if there's one that it's using visually, it's communicating all the same language and components that your salesperson is trained to do, but it's got that visual part of it. And then these other 2 have no voice, it's all about just a price and it's all about just their brand and that's it. That's where standing out at that point can really be powerful.
So we were talking about before we got on, there was a time before Contractor Coach Pro where I was pretty heavy into software and stuff like that. And my focus for software was selfish, to be honest with you. I wanted my sales guys, and I have a feeling this is kind of where you guys started, was I wanted my sales guys to have an advantage, number one. And number 2, I wanted to make it easier to train them. In other words, I could train them faster so they could get up to speed quicker, so they could make money faster. The faster I could get them into the position of making money, the more likely they were to stay with us. And so we did a lot of things to accomplish that. We provided good sales training. We had a great training manual. But this piece of software that we created was a little bit similar to yours, not as cool because it was way back when. But it sped up the process for them, and you could teach them the same. You could teach every single person the same exact way over and over again, instead of, hey, this guy's doing it this way and that guy's doing it this way and this guy over. And the production department then has to figure out what the heck is going on, right? And is that part of the strategy with SumoQuote too, is to make the training a little bit easier and more uniform so you can get people up to speed in your own business faster?
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's 3 key things that we talk about typically. The obvious one in my mind, because I come from sales, is like, well, you're just going to sell more. Like this is an obvious solution because you're just going to sell and win more work, whether it's more quotes or also more upgrades. The second one is it's going to be way faster. We've got a really cool integration we just did with EagleView. Even if you don't use EagleView, even though they're great, if you use something else, you can punch in your measurements quick, and basically you can build a 10, 12 page custom quote or proposal in 60 seconds or less from your phone or any device. So it's selling more, selling faster. But then the third one is that standardized growth. You as an administrator on the account, you can create these marketing pages, the text on that introduction page, the quote details items, but also how you want to market those items. You can create and standardize and share all of those with your team. So your team, essentially, you add them as a user, and they're set up and ready to go. Here's my 5 different standard reports, and I can hit a contingency agreement or a retail roofing or a retail, or a commercial job or a siding job or service, whatever it is. But I can build these in minutes, and they feel very custom. So yeah, that standardization and being able to scale off of that is massive.
So let's talk about that for a minute. And we're going to come right back. And I want to talk to you not so much about SumoQuote now, but a little bit more on the Epic Roofing side, some of the things that you guys have done to add to what you do with the proposal. Like the standardization of things is really important. I want to talk a little bit more about that. You cool with that?
That sounds great.
All right, everybody, hang on for just a second, and we'll be right back with Ryan. And we're going to hear a little bit from one of our sponsors. We got to get those bills paid, and I'm going to do it for everybody today. So, guys, you're hanging out here with me and Ryan as we're talking about positioning your business as a professional entity. And one of our sponsors is actually SumoQuote. And the reason that they're a sponsor for us is we believe that it's one of the best tactics that you can use to gain more capacity fast. A lot of us are small contractors. We're trying to get things done quicker and faster so that we can create more time to work on the things that we're really great at. And so sitting down and writing big, long estimates and putting proposals together, and all that is very time consuming. And so if we can reduce the amount of time there, we can be a lot more efficient, which allows us time to work on our marketing, to work on our processes, to work on our culture, to work on those things that allow us to grow our business, recruit more people because I'm selling more. And so if you haven't tried SumoQuote, when we get to the end of the day, I'll ask Ryan how you get in contact with them. I'm sure they'll do a free demo with you, let you check it out and see how it works. But the thing I love most about SumoQuote is the fact that I can customize it to fit my company, to fit my brand, and to really show off what I might do unique and different from everybody else. So when you get done today, go check out SumoQuote. We'll drop a link down in the bottom, and we'll see if Ryan will do something special for everybody. I kind of put him on the spot right there, but we'll see what happens. All right, Ryan, I put you on the spot. Why? He had no idea. He's like, oh, man, what'd you do to me? We'll talk about that when we get to the end today. For listeners, if they're interested in SumoQuote, what you guys might be able to do for them for taking the time out to listen to our podcast. But let's talk about Epic Roofing. Like, that's the unique thing about you guys. You're also a roofer, so you know it inside and out, backwards and forwards. You do retail, you do storm, you do commercial, you do residential, you do service. Like, you do what all these guys are aspiring to do. I mean, you're doing 35 million. You didn't start there, right? Like, you started small like everybody else and grew over time. Was there ever a pinnacle moment? Like, hey, we were kind of small and then we ramped up. Was there ever anything like that?
Yeah, there was. And I know it more. I came back to Epic Roofing. So I was shingling for Epic Roofing when it was just a single crew, and the owners were right beside me, and we were going back in 2003, 2004 sort of thing. So and then I came back and joined Epic Roofing again in 2011. So that was, and at that point they were about 80 employees. So we had lots of growth since then. But I know in 2008, we had started to get a series of storms, and we made the decision that rather than subcontracting through all of these, we were going to go direct and we were going to start winning these ourselves. And that was a big move. And in Canada, it's a bit unique how we can do some of that, because at that time, being a preferred contractor for an insurance company was gold. They would basically go to the homeowner. It was like a $500 deductible, which was nothing. They'd tell the homeowner, hey, look, if you're going to cash settle, you get 2/3, 60, 65, 70% of the cash. But if you go with our preferred, we cover the full value. We give you a lifetime warranty on their work. So really, they're just trying to push it towards the preferred. Now, things have changed drastically in our region since then. Now it's probably $2,500 deductibles on average, significant depreciation, and pretty much as a standard now, all of the depreciation is non-recoverable. And so you can imagine you've got to try and adjust quickly when you go from this gravy train of insurance just handing you work to now trying to get in front of things. And that's part of where we had to figure out a lot on the sales side as well, to make sure that we were still leading the charge and growing, even though now we had a big building. We had lots of overhead, and there's a lot of risks that come with being a larger company as well.
Yeah, so the dynamic changed, and I foresee those things, and they are already happening here in the States. If you're in Texas, you've got a 1 or 2% deductible, so you're looking anywhere from $2,000, $2,500 for a deductible, all the way up into $8,000, $12,000. A lot more what we call and what you described as ACV policy. So you get actual cash value, but you don't have any recoverable depreciation. And so that storm world is a different world, and it's constantly changing. And insurance companies to me are like casinos. The house is always going to win, and they're gonna position themselves in a way that they are never exposed. And so if we keep that in mind as contractors, that kind of stuff is happening, we got to get better at our game. They still have a damaged roof. They still need to get a roof. And so who are they going to get it from? It's probably the company that's going to be the best at sales. The one that can actually like separate themselves and close a deal instead of just, here's my estimate, call me back, right?
Yeah, and the analogy I often use there is, as contractors, we've gotten a little lackadaisical, right? Like we kind of look around and compare ourselves to all of our peers, and we're like, well, we're better than this roofing company down the street and better than that roofing company. And so, but we got to think now, the world around us is changing so fast, and our customers, the homeowners, they're not comparing us to our peers. They're comparing us to the experiences they're getting in other areas. So they're comparing us to Amazon. They're comparing us to the experience they get with their bank or even their grocery store. Like, I got 3 boys between 3 and 6 in age, right? Like, the last thing I want to do is spend an hour in a grocery store. That is the worst thing you could possibly do. Whereas I can go online, make a few clicks, do my complete order, and really my wife does it, and she's gracious, and I go pick it up. But like, I just drive up and call them, and they walk it out to my vehicle, and I drive away. Like, why? Like, these are the experiences that technology can help create these days. And so as contractors, I think more and more we need to be looking at the technologies available to us and the ways that we can utilize and customize those to create experiences that are way more powerful and help you stand out compared to other contractors that are still trying to slug it out with printers in their truck and doing these other types of things.
Well, I was thinking as you were talking about your proposals and the ability to pull EagleView in, you get these storm situations that happen, but those are becoming more and more retail situations, that there's just more opportunity than there was before because the storm has happened. So you still got to be able to sell, right? And I'm going, if I was a contractor today and there was a storm, people aren't big fans of door knockers. So here's how I know. My neighborhood a week ago got hit by a hailstorm, which I'm like, this is great, right? This is great. I can't wait. I'm excited for somebody to knock on my door. I can't wait to talk to them the whole bit because it's my world. But we have a very active Facebook group. And so the show today, I want to let people know that when things like this happen, that community, that neighborhood, that whoever, they're actively talking to each other. And so this storm hit at 1:30 a.m. It woke me up. Hail's hitting all over the place. Tornado warnings are going off. I have this warning go off on my phone. And, 15, 20 minutes later, everything calms down. My first reaction, go out, check where the tornado is supposed to be, see if anybody needs any help. And so I ran and did that. Came back and checked the Facebook deal because everybody was already commenting on it right away during the storm. And one of the very first questions, anybody know a roofer? I was like, wow, that fast? Like, really? That was your first thought, is like, hey, I need to get an inspection on my roof. And so their mindset is saying, hey, I know there's a problem. I know that we need to do something about our roof. But then it was within a day or two. How many guys have knocked on your door? Man, I hate these door knockers. They're just all about it. Don't trust the door. And like all that conversation's happening on behind the scenes that the contractor doesn't hear or see or aware of. And I'm like, all right, so what you're telling me is I can create a proposal for a house I've never been to in my life in 60 seconds. Yeah. Why wouldn't I mail that proposal to every single home in that neighborhood I really want to work? Yeah, there's some expense to it for sure. You got some costs. Maybe it's $2,000, $2,500. I'm going to spend that in marketing anyway, time and gas and energy. And when I can just pop it all at one point, and just that thing itself is my salesperson. that's out there. They hop online with me. I say, hey, yeah, this is what it is. I already have your proposal done. It's ready to go. Which shingles do you want? Those. All right, cool. We'll get the order put together and sign here digitally. Do you see much of that kind of stuff happening? Do you see any contractors kind of stepping into that world?
You know what, I think it would be fascinating to think about a roofing company and that type of scenario that you've got, or sort of wherever the roofing is. I think what technology is allowing us to do is some really interesting things. So honestly, this is what I think, and we don't do this with our roofing company to this degree yet. But think about it like this. I think it'd be fascinating to start a roofing company where you've done well in one location, and now you start doing a bunch of targeted Facebook marketing to another geographic location, right? So shout out to Joseph Hughes with Contractor Dynamics. Go work with Joe, start focusing on this other area. Now you start getting leads for that other area, right? So your website, you add that location, you start getting leads there. Now you order an Eagle View. Now with the Eagle View, now you create a quote. And now you can have an inside sales team that's running actual virtual meetings. And one of the things we launched with SumoQuote recently was our pro level, where you could there's full in-home presentations that you can put together with videos and brochures and the customer's inspection photos and all kinds of things right there on your tablet, so that it's this sort of perfect dynamic presentation experience that you go through. But we also integrated essentially with Zoom, where you can have full video, full audio, full screen share, chat, message boards, everything there, and this entire virtual experience that you can create. I think it'd be fascinating because as a roofing contractor, I think for me to expand geographically, I got to buy trucks and offices and hire people and try and manage them from afar and take risks on people and all of this stuff. But if I could do a local in-house team that I've already got trained, run things virtually, all I have to have is a single project manager on the ground, really just to check for a 2-layer tear, if it's insurance, to check damages, and then to audit the crew and make sure that the crew's workmanship is done correctly so that we can warranty it and everything else. But technology is giving us incredible ways that we can run our businesses differently. And now I think it's that time to start thinking about those and thinking about, even if it's one piece of what I just described, right? It's taking that one piece and leveraging that and then starting to grow. It's not that everybody has to become these virtual sales companies, but there's some fascinating things you can use technology for that I think would be very interesting with that.
So literally while I'm talking to you, I'm making a purchase, and what I'm purchasing, and just make sure I purchase it first before I put this on a recording. Yep. So there we go. This would be interesting. Like everybody's going to go, whoa, holy cow. I had this thought last night exactly along the lines, and we're working with some contractors that are doing this type of thing. They're expanding out around them through virtual sales processes. And okay, so I just purchased it. I purchased roofazon.com. And so like, hey, I can buy my roof through an Amazon type situation. I can pick out all my stuff. I want this and this and this, and there's my stuff, right? And I'm always a bit hesitant to put that out there because I think like somebody's going to finally click to this and they're going to dominate. They're going to just take over the whole world like Amazon's taking over the world of retail. But Walmart hasn't gone anywhere. Those guys are still in business. So is Home Depot and Lowe's and everybody else. But it's one of the things I've noticed is that it's the way I want to buy.
Yeah.
I really and truthfully don't want a sales guy in my house. I like the guy coming to my house and doing some big pitch on me and all that other good stuff. I'm like, no thanks. So I got to click the order button before anybody else jumps on it. It's not live, thankfully. Now somebody can buy that from me. It's for sale. I think this is where we're headed with things. I think this is the way people want to buy, the way they want to have the experience. And they're like, hey, I want to buy my landscaping, hop online, check you out. I got all my reviews and everything else. This is what I want you to do. They pick, like, I want you to mow the yard. I want you to trim the hedges. This is what it costs. Okay, buy. And the guy just shows up and starts doing work. Like I've already made that choice. And I can see the same thing happening in our world. I really noticed it when you could buy a car online. Like, I don't know if I would do that. Like, I can go a long ways on buying stuff online, but a car, really? Like, I kind of want to drive that thing, right? But Carvana got it figured out. You don't like it, give it back to them. And that's kind of the thought process is you don't like what the experience is like, we'll give you your money back. So it's going to take somebody with some big cojones to go, yeah, I can do that. But do you see it going this way? Like, do you think it'll end up there?
I mean, I do. I know the objection from every roofing contractor out there, right? Well, not everybody wants to buy a roof online, right? This is a big decision. This should be personal and everything else. And I don't disagree with it. Now, the one point I'll make is you can make it personal online. Technology makes that. Everybody works off Zoom meetings these days. It's easy. It's not difficult. So if you've got a thoughtful experience customized for working roofing sales, that's sort of what you need on that. So I do see the virtual side growing, but I don't disagree with them either. There's not every homeowner will want to buy like that, and homeowners will want you to show them product that they can touch and some of these things. And so that's fine. Like, you don't have to base your entire roofing company off of that, but your ability to scale and to scale at lower costs increases significantly if you start with the virtual side and then ease into having more bodies on the ground in a location, right? So I think it's not to say that you have to force 100% of the people down this path, but you want to give people the option. And a lot more like yourself, Jim, I think people are going to take the option of being able to, do it at their convenience, meet with somebody not during the dinner hour or at night, and they want to do it just during the day when they've got time and their kids aren't screaming around them in their house and stuff, and meet then. And so give them that option if they want. If they want you in their house, great, go to their house. Make it about the customer. They need to be the sort of quote unquote hero of the story at the end of the day, as we're the guide taking them through the process.
Couldn't agree more. We actually preach that as like your whole story is about them. It's not about you. Mm-hmm. And we really work hard on that with our marketing strategy stuff. And I agree with you. Shout out to Joseph Hughes. He's our boy at Contractor Dynamics. Those guys are amazing at teaching you how to geo-target and do some of these newer ways of really honing in on a neighborhood, even like just this little bitty area, even down to a house if you really want a specific house. All right. So we see technology really affecting our industry. We see opportunity there. I agree with you. I don't think there's an all in or all out situation. I think it's a start preparing for it, start building strategies for it with this idea that I still am going to have some boots on the ground in certain aspects of what I do. There's also a percentage of homeowners that are willing to do this. I think I'm in the smaller percent. I think it's 10% or less that go, hey, man, I don't want anybody there. Just seriously, look, can I pick my stuff online and you show up and do the work? I think the 90% are still like, hey, come to my house. I want to see what you have. I want you to do the dog and pony show. But if you apply that logic on a larger scale, right? Like I've got Calgary or I've got San Antonio here. I can only do that in that locale. And so 90-10, right? So that 10% doesn't mean a lot. But when you start to take that out across other areas, 10% in Dallas, 10% in Houston, 10%, and you start adding that up, once you pass 10 cities, now it's 110%. Now it's 120%, 130%. When you apply that logic to how you approach your business, I think you can scale a little bit greater. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. I was a roofing contractor that's now found my way into the technology space, and the technology space is fascinating, and everything's about customer acquisition cost and lifetime value and churn and all of your numbers and going through that, because you can scale all over the place. I mean, SumoQuote's got companies using us in Australia just as easily as Canada or the United States or like everywhere, right? So it's easy. But that's where I think it's interesting to start to look at these things as they're coming up. And I think about places specifically like Florida, Texas a bit, but Phoenix, Arizona, where you've got a lot of snowbirds coming down from Canada or the northern states. And you've got people that are they're not going to be there anyways. So they need to do an experience like this in order to go through it. So
Yeah, there's unlimited opportunity. It's one of the things that I try to get across to the younger generation today is that they have more opportunity today than ever before in the history of our planet. With what technology is afforded, like you, we work with contractors all over the world. We have contractors in England and Australia and Canada, and we're about to expand into the Latino-speaking countries. And so, um, it's only because of technology. We could never have done that before. We couldn't get to enough people and have enough of an impact. And I think it affords us this opportunity to have an impact. So, to wrap it up here, what's the impact that you hope SumoQuote is able to make on the home services contracting world?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, SumoQuote, we see ourselves as really wanting to be an incredible sales platform, right? Now, the key in all of that is we focus heavily on the homeowner. The homeowner is the one that controls the dollars and cents, which we've already said, right? They're the hero of the story, which we've already said. Like, so the emphasis that SumoQuote has is how do we make it incredibly easy for a contractor to create this amazing experience for a homeowner that positions them differently than everybody else in the industry that they're talking to. So yeah, SumoQuote, ultimately for us, we want to have, right now it's a quote or a contingency agreement or proposal that stands out and looks significantly different and better and helps you increase those closing rates. But then it's getting into more of the virtual meetings and the customer portal and that whole customer engagement side. We want to make it really easy for contractors to look amazing and stand out to homeowners. And really, it's that impact on the homeowner that we focus so heavily on.
Okay, so I got three more questions to wrap all this up. All right, these have nothing to do with SumoQuote or Epic Roofing or anything. This has to do with Ryan.
Okay.
I like to ask these questions to all my guests. I think it's fascinating. First question: what is your greatest achievement today? Not including getting married or having kids. No family stuff.
Ah, shoot. That was
That's everybody's. We all know, right? We all know that's my, and it better be, or your wife's going to get you. But what's your greatest achievement besides that?
you know what, SumoQuote and Epic Roofing and stuff, like that's our partners. We've built and done this stuff together. So if I've got to look at something sort of personal for myself, and this is a random one, but I'm just trying to pick something that was hard to do and a bit unique. When I was in university, I paid for university by going out tree planting. Very Canadian thing, right? you got these lumber, especially lumber these days, right? The prices of that. So you got these lumber companies doing, making these clear cuts, and you go out there and you sleep in a tent and you've got cooks that cook for you, but you basically go out there and plant trees all day long in order to, for reforestation, in order to get the growth back on these cut blocks. So usually you're planting anywhere from 1,500, 2,000, maybe 3,000 trees a day. My top day of planting trees, I planted 6,000 trees in a day. And
that is, like, did you have a machine that was doing that and you were running the machine, or were you like digging with a shovel? What did that look like?
It was a shovel. You're going across land, you got your planting bags on with your trees, your little seedlings loaded up in them, and you've got your spade with, it's maybe just like 8-10 inch spade at the end. And so it's quick, and it's just how fast can you move? And you stab that spade in, open a hole, slide a little seedling down the back of your shovel, kick it shut, and it just gets to be this fluid motion. And so, yeah, I averaged about 400 trees an hour. And it was just like, yeah, and that night I laid awake all night with my body twitching because my muscles were so done with how hard I had gone. So anyways, that's probably up there.
That's awesome. You win the most unique achievement award. That was the first time I've heard anything like that one. I can't even imagine. I'm like, God, I'm planting 6,000 trees. I can't. It's a big deal for me to plant 3 or 4 in a day. So that's pretty cool. All right. Best advice you've ever gotten from a mentor or coach, or somebody you trust, maybe a grandparent, father, somebody like that.
Yeah, it's. I remember a I'm going to give two pieces of advice here. The one, just business law class, my first year in university. And this is literally the only thing I remember from this class, but he said, a partnership is the most dangerous ship to sail. And it's like,
I agree.
And I've got phenomenal partners with my work. In the highest level of integrity, they're great guys. So I'm very appreciative of that. But the second one, and this is something that I find fascinating, that contractors don't talk about this stuff. But whenever somebody says, well, what's going to be the biggest challenge of 2021? Or what's going to be the biggest challenge of 2022? Or whatever it is, right? It's the one that nobody talks about. In my mind, it's your banking facilities. It's your financials. Everybody's on these Facebook groups talking about sales and talking about production and talking about these things that are sexier or whatever it is. But it's like, ultimately, at the end of the day, if you don't have storms, if you're struggling getting better at retail, whatever, if you don't have a strong balance sheet, if you haven't lined up a good operating line or a good capital line to be able to access, if you're not running your business fiscally, financially well, then you have so much risk that you're taking on. It's incredible. And then I think there should be more conversations around running the financials of a roofing business, because I think that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
Two reasons a contractor of any kind, or most businesses in general, go out of business. The two main reasons: lack of good leadership, lack of understanding their finances. Those two things are that's why 70 to 80% of contractors go out of business in the first 3 years. It's the reason we hired a financial coach. Our financial coach positions these people with the information they need, the understanding they need, the dashboards they need to make physically, like you said, responsible decisions. Without that, you're shooting from the hip and guessing. And even if you're a percent or two off, that guess could cost you your business. And people don't understand that. And all numbers in general, like finance is super important, but what are those other numbers that are important as they relate to marketing? Cost per lead, cost per acquisition, those type of things. We build dashboards for all of them to understand their numbers and their finances because we want to keep them in business. And so far, so good. We've coached about 400 contractors. Not a single one has gone out of business in over the 8 years of coaching that we've done, except the one that wanted to. They either sold it or they decided to go chase it, the dream that they were really after. So pretty cool to be able to do that. Proud of that moment.
That is amazing for sure.
And great advice. Ryan, I wish more people would click to how important that is for their business. All right. Question number 3.
Okay.
We all only have so much time on this planet, right? It's a pinprick in time in the big scheme of things. And we all are going to have that day where we're going to be in a box and everybody's going to be walking past and all that other good stuff. How do you want people to remember you? What do you want them to say about you as they experience that moment?
It's a good one as well. You're probably going to get me being sentimental and stuff here, but you know what? He was a good father, a good husband, and a good friend, right? Like it's ultimately those relationships people talk about. It's not how does the saying go? People won't remember what you said to them; they'll remember how you made them feel, right? Something like that. I know that's not nailing exactly, but I want the feeling that people have of their engagements with me to be, full of encouragement, full of joy when we can, and when it's the hard times, that even though it's sorrow, that there's they knew there was somebody there beside them that cared as well. Like I just want those feelings to be overwhelmingly positive, and that's it. It's, you can't ask for much more than that, right?
Geez,
I'm getting you all sentimental there as well, Tim. You're choking up, or
yeah. You're doing a great job of it. Every time that we've interacted, it's always encouraging. I always feel joy whenever we talk with each other. We're always looking at growing and expanding and the possibilities and opportunities. When I get done talking to Ryan, I always come away from it going, man, I really like that guy. And so you're well on your way to doing that. I really appreciate that. Thanks,
Ben. And same to you as well.
How do people get a hold of you if they want to check out SumoQuote and maybe get a trial? Or what do you guys do? How do you do it?
Yeah, the easiest thing is go to our website. We've got a free 14-day trial. So I would just say jump on SumoQuote.com and hit that free start for free button. So Now, we are going to send you a couple of emails and encourage you to jump on a demo, because a demo is invaluable. So you will gain so much knowledge so much faster and get to see practically how it could work for your roofing company. So yeah, anybody that jumps on a trial, I'd strongly encourage you to jump on a demo. And then honestly, man, if people want to reach out to me directly, I love talking roofing, or if there's anything I can help with, Ryan at SumoQuote.com. I'm happy to connect with people as well. But yeah, check out SumoQuote. It's a great tool, and grab a demo. And if there's anything you think I could help you with, if it's just different templates or samples that we've built, I'm happy to send some of those over to you to get your imagination going as well.
Okay, I'm going to remind you, I put you on the spot earlier. Anything special for anybody listening today? Like, hey, listen, we'll do something cool for you?
Yeah, we'll do a 25% off for the first 3 months.
Whoa! All right.
Yeah. We'll do a 25% off for the first 3 months, courtesy of Jim arm twisting me on live radio here.
Yeah, put him on the spot. That's my job. And really and truthfully, I want to do what's right by contractors. I want to give them the opportunity to try something that will help them with their business. And I believe strongly in what you guys do at SumoQuote. Thanks for being here today, Ryan.
Yeah, Jim, thanks for having me, man. It was really good to hang out with you for a bit.
Likewise, exactly. All right, we'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks. Take care, everyone.
All right, everybody. That was Ryan from SumoQuote. Great product, great mind. He's been around this for a long time, lots of experience across the board. I'm sure that if you take him up on his offer of shooting him an email, you will get some interaction and some value far beyond what SumoQuote is, just talking business in and of itself. He is a fountain of knowledge. So take that time to get that information from him. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you for taking the time out to listen, to work on your business. Hopefully we entertained you a little bit. Hopefully you got a couple of golden nuggets out of this that are going to help you with your business. And that's what we're here for. We're here to care for this industry, to serve this industry, to maybe put a little bit of a different spin on things, to cause us to think outside the box, to push that envelope a little bit, because staying ahead of the curve is the thing that creates value in your business. And that's what we're all about, creating value in your business, creating that experience with your customer, creating contractors that are professionals that a homeowner can count on to take care of them. If you want to find out more about how we help contractors do what they do to grow and scale, to get control of their business, to get all those hats off of their head and start to create a well-oiled machine, check us out at Contractor Coach Pro. Take a quick assessment. Once we get that assessment, we'll send you a link to our calendar, pick a time that works for you, and we'll do a free call with you, show you what a coaching call is like, and give you some great information that day that'll help you with your business. If you want to be a customer, great. If you don't, that's fine too. We're just here to provide that value to help you each and every day. That's what we do. So thank you for watching the show. And we're going to sign off with a little ad from one of our sponsors. We love these guys at Get the Referral. Make sure and check them out whenever you have the opportunity.
Who doesn't love getting more referrals? GTR will make your referral game stronger than ever with our 4-step process. First, engage with customers through job status updates and push notifications. Then, motivate your advocates to send referrals and earn rewards. Third, track and manage all of your results through your company's dashboard. And finally, sit back and enjoy achieving up to 40 times ROI. GTR is the #1 referral platform for contractors, so book your demo today at getthereferral.com.